The red carpet sparkled. Cameras flashed. Celebrities beamed in couture gowns and designer tuxedos. It was the Time 100 Gala, one of the most prestigious events celebrating the world's most influential people. Among the names on the guest list, Blake Lively, the Hollywood darling with the perfect smile, and Megyn Kelly, the sharp-tongued journalist known for asking the questions others wouldn't dare. But no one, absolutely no one, was prepared for what happened next. As the night progressed, speeches were made, glasses were clinked, and the spotlight shifted from one icon to another. Then, unexpectedly, Megyn Kelly took the mic, not on stage, but off it, in a backstage interview that would send shockwaves through Hollywood. With cameras rolling, she broke her silence about Blake Lively, and what she said would shatter Blake's picture-perfect image forever. Blake Lively, known for her roles in Gossip Girl, The Age of Adeline, and A Simple Favor, has long been regarded as one of Hollywood's golden girls, stylish, witty, married to Ryan Reynolds, and practically royalty in the celebrity world. But according to Megyn Kelly, that image is carefully curated and dangerously fake. In the interview that exploded online just hours after the gala, Kelly dropped a series of startling accusations and behind-the-scenes insights that turned Blake's fans and even some of her industry allies completely upside down. But what did Megyn Kelly say? And why is the internet calling this the fall of Blake Lively? As Megyn Kelly's words echoed across the internet, social media lit up like wildfire. Fans of Blake Lively were left in disbelief, not just because a respected journalist had dared to speak out, but because the accusations seemed so specific, so intentional, and so damaging. In the viral clip, Megyn, never one to sugarcoat, began by calmly stating, "Blake Lively is a master of performance. And I don't mean on camera," she continued, hinting that Blake's wholesome public image is strategically manufactured, designed to conceal what she described as elitist behavior, and a pattern of backroom manipulation in Hollywood circles. According to Megyn, Blake isn't just playing roles in movies, she's playing one in real life. And while most fans see her as witty, classy, and relatable, those in the industry know a very different version. Megyn went on to describe multiple encounters over the years in which Blake allegedly snubbed rising actresses, controlled interview questions, and even blacklisted certain stylists and journalists from events, including one who later confided in Megyn about being pushed out of the fashion circuit for not kissing up to Blake's image. "She's protected," Megyn said. "You don't get that kind of untouchable spotlight without stepping on a few people. In Blake, she stepped quietly, but with heels." That line, "with heels," instantly became a trending phrase across Twitter and TikTok. But the revelations didn't stop there. Megyn also questioned how Blake Lively's entire brand, from her marriage to Ryan Reynolds to her curated Instagram feed, may be a calculated strategy to keep her above criticism. She pointed out how the couple's banter is always timed for media attention, often coinciding with promotional cycles or major Hollywood press moments. One example, their cheeky social media posts just happened to trend days before Blake launched her non-alcoholic mixer brand, and Ryan dropped a new trailer. "It's not just cute, it's marketing," Megyn said, "and the public eats it up like it's authentic." But is it? That question, "Is Blake Lively authentic?" quickly became the core debate across YouTube reactions, gossip forums, and comment sections. Some fans defended Blake fiercely, calling Megyn jealous, bitter, or irrelevant. But others began to look at Blake through a new lens, and what they saw was unsettling. As the viral clip of Megyn Kelly's backstage comments exploded across the internet, Blake Lively's silence spoke volumes. There was no statement from her rep, no social media post, no clever Ryan Reynolds-style clapback, just nothing. And in Hollywood, silence is never just silence, it's a signal. Some saw it as strategic, others saw it as guilt. But most fans were left wondering, if it's all false, why not deny it? Within 48 hours, whispers began to circulate, not just from gossip channels, but from former co-stars, stylists, and even makeup artists who had previously worked with Blake. While none were willing to speak publicly, several anonymous insiders reached out to entertainment blogs and YouTube Expos creators, painting a picture of a woman who, behind the scenes, was far more calculating and controlling than her bubbly image suggests. One former assistant claimed, "Everything around Blake is staged, from her smiles to her walk down the red carpet, even who she chooses to talk to. It's all planned. She's not mean, just cold, like everything is a chessboard." Another source described working on a film set with her, where Blake allegedly demanded script changes to boost her character's emotional scenes and allegedly pressured producers to tone down a co-star's performance that was getting too much attention. And while none of this is illegal, it's not even scandalous on the surface. It paints a very different version of the star so many fans thought they knew. One who isn't just a leading lady in Hollywood, but a master manipulator behind the curtains. What's even more shocking is how quickly the media began to shift. Outlets that once praised Blake unconditionally started running more neutral headlines. Megyn Kelly sparks debate over Blake. Lively's public image Time 100. Drama. Has Blake Lively been playing us all along? The internet turns on Hollywood's darling. Was it inevitable? And suddenly, the comments under Blake's Instagram photos weren't just filled with heart emojis and praise. They were filled with questions like, is this the real you? Where's the response to Megyn's truth? Are you just another Hollywood actress playing nice for the cameras? Behind the scenes, insiders claim Blake was furious about the narrative unfolding, but still unsure how to respond without looking defensive, or, worse, guilty. Because the more she spoke, the more fuel it might add to Megyn Kelly's fire. And make no mistake, this wasn't just a feud. It was a media war. We're now over 6,800 characters into the full 20,000 character script. Say next to get Part 4, where we reveal how this scandal reached Reynolds, what happened at Blake's inner circle, and why some say this might be her PR breaking point. For years, Ryan and Blake have branded themselves as Hollywood's favorite couple. Sarcastic, stylish, and unbothered by the chaos of fame. But now, in the middle of a media firestorm targeting Blake's character, Ryan's legendary humor was noticeably absent. No jokes, no Instagram stories, no viral tweets. Just silence. Insiders claim that while Blake was internally spiraling, Ryan was pushing for damage control behind the scenes. According to one source close to the couple, Ryan was concerned not just about the backlash, but about how much truth Megyn Kelly might actually know. He's protective, the insider said, but he's also calculated. Ryan knows how fragile public opinion is. If they don't respond right, it could cost both of them brand deals and upcoming roles. And they're right. The stakes aren't just emotional, they're financial. Blake is tied to multiple luxury endorsements. Ryan's involved in tech ventures, alcohol brands, and film franchises. Any slip in public perception could mean millions lost, or worse, being labeled inauthentic by an increasingly skeptical audience. And that's exactly what started happening. Across YouTube and TikTok, creators began dissecting past interviews and social media posts. Suddenly rewatching Blake's old footage with entirely new eyes, what once looked charming now seemed fake. What once seemed quirky now felt manipulative. It was like the internet had flipped a switch, and Blake Lively was no longer the sweetheart. She was the schemer. Even Blake's inner circle wasn't immune. Some stylists and PR insiders who had once posted endlessly about their love for Blake went suspiciously quiet. Others deleted old photos or removed tags. While none said anything directly, online sleuths noticed the pattern. Blake was being quietly distanced from, and then came the leaks. One gossip blog posted alleged text messages between two mid-tier Hollywood stylists. In the messages one says, "Can't believe what Megyn said," but also, "Not surprised. We've all seen her act one way with cameras on, and totally different the moment they're off." While the authenticity of the messages hasn't been confirmed, they added even more fuel to the fire, and people believe them. Because here's the thing. When your image is based on being adored, it only takes one crack for everything to collapse. And Megyn Kelly, she didn't just crack it, she took a sledgehammer to it. As public scrutiny intensified, Blake Lively's carefully curated empire began to show signs of cracks, not just in perception, but in profit. Several sources reported that luxury brands associated with Blake, from skincare companies to fashion houses, were reassessing her endorsement value. While none pulled out officially, two PR firms noted that internal discussions were taking place over whether Lively still represented the kind of image their brands were built on. That's not just gossip, that's the sound of corporate panic. In today's digital world, perception is power. And when a high-profile personality like Megyn Kelly challenges that perception with conviction and specificity, brands listen. Why? Because they're not loyal to celebrities. They're loyal to reputation. One fashion PR director even told an online magazine, Blake's image is her currency. If that image becomes questionable, if people start believing she's fake or manipulative, then she's no longer a safe bet. Meanwhile, fans were starting to fracture. On Reddit, comment sections filled with debates. Is Blake really who we thought she was? Some longtime supporters defended her, pointing out her history of charity work, her seemingly happy marriage, and her efforts to stay out of messy scandals. But others weren't convinced. They argued that Megyn Kelly, while controversial herself, wouldn't risk her credibility without reason. And more importantly, they said, the industry's silence around the issue spoke volumes. No one was rushing to defend Blake. Not co-stars, not old friends, not even close industry allies. It was quiet, and in Hollywood, that kind of quiet is deafening. But the real twist came days later, when a behind-the-scenes source from the Time 100 event leaked a bombshell to an anonymous gossip outlet. Apparently, Megyn Kelly had been sitting on this information for months. She'd allegedly done her own research, spoken with multiple stylists and reporters who had been blacklisted or mistreated by Blake, and even gathered testimonies from off-the-record insiders who were tired of the Blake Lively illusion. And, according to this source, the Time 100 Gala was no coincidence. It was a deliberate opportunity. Megyn, they claimed, had planned the reveal. waiting for a moment when Blake would be at her most visible, most celebrated, most untouchable. And then, boom, public takedown. Some called it strategic journalism, others called it a vendetta. But no matter what side you're on, one thing's undeniable. It worked. As the scandal deepened, so did the divide among Blake Lively's once devoted fanbase. Instagram fan pages either went private or stopped posting altogether. On TikTok, creators began dissecting old red carpet clips, TV interviews, and even podcast appearances, slowing down footage. Analyzing facial expressions, some of the most viral breakdowns pointed to instances where Blake allegedly interrupted co-stars, steered interviews toward herself, or dismissed uncomfortable questions with forced charm. One video, now at over 4 million views, compares two different press junkets. In one, Blake praises a female co-star. In another, she allegedly rolls her eyes when that same actress wins a spotlight moment. Was it coincidence, or a glimpse behind the Hollywood mask? The comment section was split. Some said, she's human, maybe she was tired. Others said, this is exactly what Megyn was talking about to Blake's. But it didn't stop. With social media sleuths, other journalists began to enter the conversation. Some backed Megyn's claims outright. One entertainment reporter wrote, Megyn Kelly's not wrong. Blake Lively has been protected by a perfect PR shield for years. Most journalists know how difficult she can be behind closed doors, we just never say it. Another added, Blake has mastered the art of public softness. But off camera, cold, methodical, she controls the room. Every room, even those who didn't fully endorse the takedown, still admitted it raised serious questions about the difference between celebrity image and celebrity truth. Meanwhile, fans were discovering even more red flags in Blake's past, like the fact that she once defended Woody Allen, a director surrounded by controversy, calling him empowering during a red carpet interview. That quote resurfaced with a vengeance. Suddenly, everything about Blake's past, every endorsement, every role, every red carpet smile, was being reinterpreted through a new lens. A harsher, less forgiving lens. But the biggest shift came, not from social media or the press, but from Hollywood. Insiders themselves. One anonymous producer told a tabloid, you can feel it. The room has changed. Blake's name no longer carries the same shine. People are cautious. Sponsors are watching. Directors are hesitating. It's subtle, but very, very real. And in Hollywood, perception is currency. If you lose it, you don't just lose fans, you lose power. As the media storm raged on, one thing became clear. Blake Lively wasn't going to make a public statement. Not yet. Instead, she retreated strategically, not silently. Sources close to her team revealed that her PR machine went into overdrive. Meetings were held with damage control experts, brand consultants, and crisis communication firms. The goal? To preserve the Blake Lively brand without directly engaging with Megyn Kelly. But here's the twist. She wasn't planning a statement. She was planning a comeback strategy. Insiders leaked that Blake had already scheduled a series of soft-focused media appearances, talk shows, magazine features, and charity-related interviews designed to subtly reshape her image without addressing the scandal head-on. One rep reportedly told a magazine editor, we're not going to feed the fire. We're going to reframe it. She's not falling apart. She's focusing on what matters. This move isn't new in Hollywood. It's a classic PR pivot. Distract the public with positivity, visibility, and polished appearances until the controversy fades. But in Blake's case, people were watching more closely than ever before. One misstep, and she'd confirm everything, Megyn said. Meanwhile, Megyn Kelly wasn't backing down either. In a follow-up podcast episode, she doubled down, saying, this isn't about hate, this is about honesty. People deserve to know when the image they're sold isn't real. She also hinted that there was even more she hadn't said. That, she had been warned not to speak out, and that there were people, powerful people, who tried to keep her quiet. That comment alone sparked another wave of conspiracy theories. Was Blake's image being protected by larger Hollywood forces? Were media outlets complicit in maintaining her reputation? Some began to speculate that Megyn's comments weren't just about Blake, but about a larger Hollywood hypocrisy, where stars build empires on likability, even if it's all smoke and mirrors. And yet, through all of this, Blake stayed the course. Her team began to resurface old interviews where she spoke about motherhood, activism, and women's rights. Fan pages were quietly encouraged to post positive reminders of her work. And slowly, methodically, her image was being reassembled piece by piece. But here's the thing, even if the surface recovers, the cracks underneath remain, because now, the public doesn't just see a glowing actress. They see the question, what else has she been hiding? As the dust settles, one question remains hanging in the air. Has Blake Lively survived this, or simply postponed the inevitable? Because while her PR team may have shifted the narrative temporarily, and her loyal fanbase might still defend her, the energy around her name has changed. That once uncheckable glow, the almost untouchable elegance, it's been replaced with a quiet skepticism. Blake may still smile on red carpets. She may still post charming selfies and launch luxury lifestyle brands. But now, a shadow follows her. A whisper, a trace of doubt. Every polished photo is now dissected. Every soundbite is replayed. People are no longer watching to admire. They're watching to catch the cracks. And in Hollywood, that's often the beginning of the end. But what about Megyn Kelly? Some have praised her for pulling back the curtain on celebrity culture. Others accuse her of staging a takedown for attention. But one thing is certain, her words have had real impact, far beyond a single actress. She exposed the vulnerability of image itself, how fragile a reputation really is, how much we want to believe in perfection, and how quickly we turn when the illusion shatters. And Blake Lively, she became the example, the case study, the cautionary tale. So where does it go from here? Blake might stay silent forever, let time and brand deals slowly scrub the internet clean, or she might go on the offensive. Tell-all interviews, emotional reintroductions, a public rebranding arc. If that happens, this moment, this Megyn Kelly bombshell, will become chapter 1 in a new celebrity transformation saga. But the truth is, the internet never forgets. And no matter how much money is behind you, no matter how perfect the lighting or how sharp the stylist, once doubt enters the frame, it never truly leaves. Because in the age of social media, we don't just watch stars. We investigate them, we interrogate them. And when the mask slips, we document every frame. So maybe this isn't the end of Blake Lively, but it's definitely the end of who we thought she was. And as for Megyn Kelly, well, she just reminded Hollywood that no matter how powerful your PR machine is, one voice, with the truth, or even just the right story, can still shake the entire foundation. Weeks after the Time 100 Gala, the spotlight still burns, not in celebration, but in exposure. What was meant to be another glamorous red carpet moment became the epicenter of a scandal that tore through Hollywood's golden illusion. And at the center of it all, two women. One, Megyn Kelly, fearless, unapologetic, and unafraid to challenge the machinery of fame. The other, Blake Lively, elegant, admired, adored, and now questioned whether you side with Megyn or remain loyal to Blake. This saga has done something rare. It has forced the world to look deeper, to stop taking celebrity smiles at face value, to ask uncomfortable questions about how fame is built, how power is protected, and what gets hidden behind the filtered images and rehearsed interviews. Because make no mistake, this wasn't just about Blake Lively. This was about the entire Hollywood system, the handlers, the agents, the media, the brands, the silence, the unspoken rules that say, if you play the part perfectly, we'll protect you endlessly. Until someone like Megyn Kelly walks in and says, no more pretending. Now Blake Lively faces a choice, one every public figure eventually confronts when the spotlight turns cold. Will she double down and rebuild, carefully, quietly, with curated charm? Or will she confront the storm head-on and reclaim the narrative with brutal honesty? Because hiding will only do so much. The internet never forgets. And public trust, once cracked, is almost impossible to seal. This story, this unraveling, has become a warning for every star who thinks the truth won't catch up to their brand. For every celebrity who thinks image is enough. For every PR team who thinks silence is a strategy. Because no matter how flawless your facade is, one moment, one voice, one truth, can bring it all crashing down. So the question isn't just, what did Blake Lively hide? The question is, who else is hiding behind Hollywood's mask?